What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy David. We back with another reaction video today. Terrifying things scientists have seen in space. Now we all know space is the final frontier. And I'm saying it's where all the great mysteries of the universe and how we came to be lie. And we know a lot of sci-fi and shit, you feel me? Sci-fi, they be really like greasing the fear of what space could or could not be. You know what I'm saying? They be adding like shit like Cthulhu and eldritch monsters, and sometimes it's just the deep darkness of space itself that makes people really scared. Not me, though. Y'all niggas pussy, but stay safe out there, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, if y'all like what y'all see, make sure you like and subscribe. Try to get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's see some of the most terrifying things scientists have seen in space.
The craziest things ever seen in space. The Oh My God particle. It is October 15th, 1991. And you
know how scared of something you have to see? Do you know how scared of something you have to be to like look at that thing and be like, it's the oh my god particle, like oh my fucking god, it's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shit nuts.
your best scientists, bro, are hanging out at the Fly's Eye Observatory in Utah. You're doing what you do every evening. You're looking into space for ultra-high energy cosmic rays, trying to find something cool and learn more about the universe. This night was like...
I'm not gonna... One thing about science I've noticed is that science is... Like, space astronomy shit is really, really cool, but sometimes it feels kind of pointless because the universe is so goddamn big and so massive that y'all see all these stars right here? Yeah, this is where these stars are. Like, hold on. I just got a haircut, so I got like hair on my and shit. This is where like all these stars were billions of light years ago. So we really don't know where the fuck they're at for real. But stars don't really move, so this is kind of like accurate information. But still, like everything is so far away that like, and light is so slow. Even though light is fast as fuck, but light is so slow that we can't really catch all these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it feels kind of pointless, but it's also not pointless at the same time if you're catching my drift, you know what I'm saying?
Any other night, if not quieter. There was no new discoveries and nothing to even observe whatsoever. And while you and your scientist buddy were just throwing back scientific beers, you notice a light blinking on your...
I get it, they're scientists, but what the fuck? Why are they drinking scientific beers, bro? What kind of shit is that? That shit sound off-brand as fuck. Just get them niggas Modelo's or something, bro. Why are we drinking scientific beer? The fuck?
Desk. And it's a signal that the Fly's Eye Observatory is picking up something strong. And because this is the most action you've had all night, you decide to take a look at the data. And what you see on the chart blows your mind. As your scientific jaw drops to the scientific floor, all your scientific buddy could say is, "What do you see?" And while thoughts and ideas were bouncing around your mind at 1,000,000 miles per hour, the only words you could utter were, "Oh my God." Later leading to the name of this now iconic...
What could that possibly have been to make these niggas say, "Oh my God"? I'm so curious, bro.
...particle. The Oh My God particle, which has no relation to the God particle, which came later, was an ultra-high energy cosmic ray that was obviously detected by the Fly's Eye Observatory in Utah in 1991. And at the time, the Oh My God particle was the highest energy cosmic ray ever to be observed. And as of today, in 2026, that record has still yet to be broken, making the...
Damn, that's like half a century ago, damn near 50 years ago, bro. That's some old people shit, and that shit still ain't broke. That's crazy, bro. But I feel like there's probably something else in the universe that could be more powerful than the Oh My God particle, though. I'm not gonna lie, like, cause the universe is very big. The universe is fucking huge. Like, it's got to be something stronger. You know what I'm saying? But that's crazy, though.
This particle, very fitting of its name. Now, interestingly and somewhat unsurprisingly, this experimental observatory that was built on a military base in Utah was actually specifically built for this one purpose. The so-called high-resolution Fly's Eye detector was literally meant to only capture ultra-high energy cosmic rays. And that, it definitely did. You see, the reason why the Oh My God particle is so significant and the reason why it was so shocking to the scientists who first observed it is because it wasn't only just an anomaly or something that was rare. The energy and speed in which the Oh My God particle possessed was thought to be scientifically impossible prior to its discovery. And even after...
It would be crazy if they said that particle went faster than the speed of light. Now, if that shit went faster than the speed of light, that would be fucking nuts. But it probably didn't. So I don't know. Maybe if it went below the speed of light, that's like, you know, that's not normal per se. But like, you know, it's basically it's feasible. honestly.
Observation, it was highly questioned and thoroughly ensured that this wasn't just a miscalculation. For a bit more context, we don't quite know what type of particle the oh my god particle was, although we can assume that it was a proton due to the fact that nearly 70% of high energy cosmic rays are protons. However, fortunately, what we do know is the sheer insane power that this mysterious particle possessed. For starters, the collision energy of the oh my god particle was 40 million times more powerful than the highest energy protons ever produced in the world's strongest particle accelerator. That's right. This one random particle was literally 40 million times stronger than the strongest particle that we intentionally accelerated on Earth. And while that obviously
That sounds like some black hole shit. Like if that motherfucker just hit another like particle that fast, like it'll just explode, and the gravity will be so intense that a black hole is formed, and it'll swallow up Earth and eat all of humanity and kill us all. You know what I'm saying?
is impressive, it's also a bit deceiving. Because although it technically had 40 million times more
Oh, it's a fugazi proton. It's a fake proton type shit.
energy, not all of that energy was available. And the definition of availability in the context of particle collision essentially means the amount of energy that is actually able to create new particles in the event of a collision. And it's been calculated that in the event of an actual particle collision, the oh my god particle would have had roughly 200 times more energy than the most energetic particle in the world's best particle accelerator. Which is, once again, still impressive, but not 40 million times more impressive. But we've still got more stats to discuss. Going back to the type of particle that the oh my god particle even
And that random ass particle just hit the Earth. That is fucking crazy, bro.
is. Assuming that this particle was a proton to begin with, we can assume its rest mass and do the following calculation to determine how fast the particle was going. I'm not even going to try to pretend to understand what
This right here. This is what people do on a day-to-day basis. This is somebody's fucking job right here. This. Look at this shit. This don't even make no fucking sense. This don't even make no sense. Like, this looks like magic, nigga. Like, this is crazy.
I'm looking at right now. But this is the calculation that
I swear, I was looking at some of my notes from my last math class I had to take, like, I think last semester, and I won't lie, some of the shit I was doing, it wasn't this complicated. It was like some regular math shit, honestly. It was like college level math. Like, it was like one step above college algebra. But that shit, I was looking back at it, I was like, I did that shit? I looked back at my notes, I was like, this me? Wow, that's crazy. Shit. Because it was so many numbers for no reason. Like, it was so weird.
scientists use to calculate the speed in which one of these particles is traveling. And I suppose, using this specific formula, assuming that the particle was a proton, then it's safe to assume that this particle is literally traveling at 0.99999999999999999999957 times the speed of light. Basically a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction less than the literal speed of light, which is obviously insane, but we're still not done.
That's crazy because protons are much heavier than fucking photons. Holy shit. That's nuts. Could you imagine that shit actually like broke the, if that hole would have broke the light barrier, that'd have been crazy, bro. No cap.
The God particle wasn't only fast,
But it didn't, so it's alright.
and energetic, it was also photogenic, or at least photongenic. And what I mean by that is that the oh my god particle literally had 100 quintillion times more photon energy than visible light, which is honestly hard to even conceptualize. But just to put it into context, here's a side-by-side comparison. The oh my god particle was 20 million times more photongenic than the highest photon energy measured ever in electromagnetic radiation. I think it goes without saying that the oh my god particle has definitely earned its name, and just by looking at its stats, it's hard to imagine how rare this type of particle even is. And I do understand that this first section was very much so technical and in the weeds, and these numbers really didn't mean much, but hopefully, if nothing else, the massive multipliers of all of these numbers.
Oh, damn, it was the speed of light, bro. That proton almost moved at the speed of light. That's fucking crazy, bro. No cap.
Kind of just goes to show how insane the God particle was. Even if you're like me and know nothing about particles at all.
Yeah, me too. I don't know shit about particles. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just here having fun, nigga. I'm just having fun, nigga. I ain't gonna lie.
God particle was something really cool that was seen in space, and we're only just getting started. The Boötes Void. The year is 1981. You are
I heard about this void before. Let's see what he got to say about it, though.
an astronomer working alone, once again, late at night. Today was like any other day, and you were tasked with doing a galactic survey of redshift in the universe. And while the specifics of a redshift survey doesn't matter, what does matter is what you are about.
Bro, the amount of work these astronomers have to do with these complex ass motherfucking equations and maps and shit, it's actually befuddling. This is fucking crazy, bro. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
To discover. As you are surveying the universe, you notice something you have not seen before. Your monitoring device has gone from receiving a lot of information to essentially no information in the matter of a few degrees. And while at first it looks like the tool you're using has simply stopped working or is no longer working correctly, but after moving it and recalibrating it, you notice that you are getting the same results. To you, this is interesting because this almost reminds you of what happened when you go over a void in the universe. However, this void is different. It's nowhere near the size of the voids you've measured in the past, leading you to believe it's not a void. Although, upon further inspection, you realize that you haven't just discovered a new void in the universe. You have just discovered the largest known void in the visible universe. And this void is so big, in fact,
Look at that shit. That is just nothing. Just nothing. That's crazy, bro. How the fuck does that even happen? How does that event happen?
that is known as the Great Nothing. This is a terrifying start, and we're only just getting started. In the first section, we talked about so many numbers and facts about something that was very much so real and happening. But the Bode's Void is literally the exact opposite. The only numbers I can discuss are the numbers representing the lack that exists within this void.
Damn.
You see, as you look at a map of universe, the more and more you zoom out, the more and more you notice a sort of web or filament structure that exists through all of the superclusters of galaxies in the visible universe.
Right.
Obviously, the natural byproduct of this web-like structure is the voids or gaps between these clusters. These voids alone aren't necessarily rare, and they're not completely empty either. They do contain smaller galaxies, although they're not nearly as populated as the superclusters that are more observable. Although the reason
The bigger parts of the web type shit. Okay.
why the Bode's Void is so significant is, well, of course, because of its sheer size. From one end to another,
That bitch like a fucking shoe. Oh my god. How's like the Yeezy Red Octobers? No cap, bro. God damn, look at that shit. Just nothing, just nothingness in there. It's crazy. They probably around the edge you can find some, galaxies and stuff, but if you get past the edge, it's probably like nothing or no galaxies in there whatsoever. Maybe a star or two or a couple stars, but this is crazy.
the Bode's Void is
Because I'm pretty sure at this scale, every dot that we see isn't a star. It's actually a galaxy or some shit. So the fact that this is this big ass void right here, it's crazy.
330 million light years across. Of course, meaning if you were traveling at the speed of light,
It would take you 330 million years to cross that void. That is fucking crazy, cuz. Damn.
it would take you 330 million years to cross it. Now, for context, if the Bode's Void wasn't a void and was actually a supercluster, it would be safe to assume that this area of universe could contain up to 2,000 galaxies. However, because the Bode's Void is, well, a void, it only contains just 60 galaxies, which, relatively speaking, means it's more or less empty. As of right now, the center of the Bode's Void is 700 million light years from Earth. Although, interestingly, if the
We should send some people there, bro. No cap. We should just banish them off the earth and send them into space and make them travel across the universe at 700 million fucking years. That'll be fucking. That's one of the craziest punishments ever, bro. You did some fuck shit so crazy they had to send you to goddamn out into space for hundreds of millions of years, bro. Nobody would survive that shit, by the way. They probably had to like put them in like cryo sleep or something and then like revive them later. But that'd be crazy.
Milky Way galaxy was put smack dab in the middle of the Bode's Void, astronomers on Earth would not have known about any other galaxy until the 1960s. Because of the sheer lack of anything around our galaxy, any technology prior to the 1960s would not have been able to detect any other galaxies. And I can only imagine the scientific revelation happening in the 60s.
So we would have just been lost. We would have just not known about anything around us. That's crazy.
If we were in the middle of the void and had just discovered a new galaxy for the first time. And while voids are common and natural in the universe, something about this void being extremely
Because you have to remember the universe is actually more empty space than it is matter. You know what I'm saying? So voids are gonna be fucking common and shit.
large is, at the very least, eerie, and just some small part terrifying. Okay, this is off topic, but
What if like voids are made by big giant space aliens that eat fucking stars and galaxies and shit? That'd be crazy, huh?
do you smell that? It smells like you didn't shower. And if that's the case, I feel bad for your anime body pillow. But in case you did, you're obviously not using the right stuff, which is why this video is sponsored by Cheeky Soap. Cheeky Soap is
As they say.
they are willing to make
What the
because you think
fuck?
it looks cool. But what you are on the verge for, and you and your
Hold on,
fellow astronomer are
I gotta rewind because you know, like I gotta make sure I'm not missing no part of the video. You feel me? That you know. Hold on.
bundle today to upgrade your showers. I guarantee you will not be looking back. Now, let's get back to the video.
Yeah.
Dark galaxies. The year is 1984, and you and your fellow astronomer are in the observatory currently overlooking the Virgo cluster. The Virgo cluster is of particular interest to you because you think it looks cool. But what you are on the verge of discovering goes far beyond just being cool. As you are looking through the Virgo cluster, you notice a weird phenomenon. As you point your telescope in a specific
By the way, this animation is actually very, very cool. I really like how I animated this shit. No cap.
direction, you notice that your telescope appears to be looking at, well, nothing in particular. However, all of your equipment seems to be suggesting that you are looking at a galaxy. This is
What?
obviously perplexing because you can see directly that there is no galaxy in your direct line of sight. However, all of the data you are getting seems to be telling a different story. As you look closer through the telescope, you can see a few galaxies in the distance, and perhaps your devices are mistaking two galaxies for one larger, closer galaxy. Although based on all of the information you're getting, it appears that you are looking at a galaxy that you almost can't see. And that's when it hits you. You are looking at a galaxy, but you're looking at a galaxy no one has ever seen before. A galaxy known as a dark galaxy.
What the hell? That looks cool as a motherfucker. Hold on, bro.
That you almost can't see. And that's when it hits you. You are looking at a galaxy, but you're looking at a galaxy no one has ever seen before. A galaxy
Damn, this shit look crazy as fuck. That's clean. I fuck with this, huh? This is crazy. This tough.
known as a dark galaxy, or an ultra diffuse galaxy. Dark galaxies are quite interesting, and it's taken nearly 30 years of studying them to have a significant amount of information on them. However, the more we study dark galaxies, the more we are left with questions rather than answers. As I described in the intro story, which I totally just made up, I have no idea if that's how astronomy equipment works, it was discovered that yes, dark galaxies are such a thing. Although not much was known about them at the time. Although fast forward to the modern day, we now know a lot more about these interesting and rare
Are
galaxies.
they dark because it just can't be seen or some shit? Or are they dark because like they emit a wavelength that like we can't like usually normally see or something? Is that why they're considered like dark galaxies or something?
Dark galaxies or ultra diffuse galaxies are known as such because they are extremely low in luminosity. They don't produce a lot of light and they are very hard to see. They're so hard to see, in fact, that they're actually sometimes referred to as see-through galaxies because it is actually easier to see galaxies further in the distance behind them than it is to see the actual galaxy
How the fuck is that possible when these galaxies are so goddamn big, bro? That's crazy, bro. The universe is so surprising.
itself. And the reason why these dark galaxies are so dark is due to their lack of star-forming gas, which results in these galaxies having fewer new stars and being almost exclusively full of old, dying stars. For reference, here's an example on screen. This is a picture of NGC 1052 DF2.
Fuck is that? A galaxy?
And it's a dark galaxy that was discovered in 2018, and we'll discuss it more later, but you basically can't see it. For reference, this is the Milky Way, obviously the iconic swirly ball of light that we all associate with the term galaxy. As you can tell, one of these galaxies is not
This shit locked in, geeked. Face sad.
like the other. Although interestingly, they're not as different as they may seem. Dark galaxies typically have a similar size to our Milky Way. However, the mass of these dark galaxies is much more similar to galaxies that are way more tiny than the Milky Way. For reference, the Milky Way is estimated to have anywhere from 200 to 400 million stars.
Nigga, that's more fucking stars than people on Earth, nigga. That's fucking crazy, buddy.
Although a dark galaxy of the same size would only have roughly 1 billion stars, compared to the nearly 400 billion the Milky Way has. That fact alone makes the whole see-through aspect of a see-through galaxy make a lot more sense. But it definitely doesn't answer every question we
So it just has less matter and less stuff and less stars than the Milky Way galaxy. That's why it's see-through. Okay.
have about dark galaxies. From their original discovery in 1984 to the modern day, scientists have observed two opposite traits when it comes to dark galaxies. Some dark galaxies, unsurprisingly, contain an extreme amount of dark matter, and it's believed by scientists that some literally consist almost
I swear, when they was explaining dark matter to me in my astronomy class, I still didn't understand it because basically stars or galaxies have a certain mass, but the amount of stuff within that galaxy is not enough for the mass that they have. So scientists then said, "Oh, that's because those galaxies have dark matter, matter that we just cannot see." And I was like, "What the fuck? Matter we can't see? How the fuck is that possible? How is that even a thing?" Because I just don't understand it. It just felt like it felt like an incomplete concept to me, honestly. Because this shit just like, how can't we see the matter? Like we obviously they know it's there because of the gravitational effects that it has, because of the mass of the because of the mass of the galaxies. Remember, but they can't see it, and they can't touch it. If that makes sense, I don't know, bro. I'm just so dumb.
Primarily of dark.
That shit was just so confusing. I was sitting there like, what is this nigga even talking about? That shit don't even make no sense. But you know, it was interesting though.
Matter due to the lack of stars. Now, dark matter being present in a galaxy is not surprising whatsoever, and it's believed by most scientists that dark matter is a necessity for galaxies to form. Now, that's all fine and well until you understand that in recent years, like we're talking 2018, there has been dark galaxies that have been discovered with basically no dark matter whatsoever. And what this means...
But what the hell is dark matter anyways? Like, that's my biggest question for real, for real.
Honestly, I don't know, besides the fact that we really don't know much about dark galaxies. But of course, the mystery doesn't end there, because while some dark galaxies have almost all dark matter and some dark galaxies almost have no dark matter, the common denominator between both dark galaxies is the fact that we don't know how they're formed. There are some scientists that theorize that these galaxies are old and formed from the earliest galaxies, which is why they are out of star-forming gas. But yeah, these galaxies are rather mysterious and elusive, and almost kind of seem like the ghosts of galaxies, because you can barely see them, they're translucent, we don't know how they're formed, they're on either end of the extreme when it comes to dark matter, and we still don't know a ton about them. And I guess one more funny fact about dark galaxies, which has nothing to do with the galaxy itself, is that if you go to the Ultra Diffuse Galaxy Wikipedia page, you will see that it's discovered by two men, Alan Sandabich and Bruno Bengelli. And if you hover over Alan's name, it'll show you a picture of him and tell you about all of his credentials.
Okay.
You know, American astronomer from California, blah, blah, blah. But if you hover over Bruno, there is no picture, and all it says is, Bruno Bengelli is a Swiss curler. And I can only assume this is like an incorrect hyperlink, but if this is accurate, that's kind of hilarious. And it also reminds me of that one...
It's probably incorrect. I know Wikipedia, it's a good source, but it's not the best, you know what I'm saying? That's why whenever you're writing college level papers, you can't, they make it a point, they let everybody know, they be like, do not fucking use Wikipedia. Do not use that shit. Come on, you're in college, you use that shit. Are you mental? Don't use that, bro.
Joker sketch where Q and Murr are giving a presentation, and Q gives all of his credentials when introducing himself, and then Murr has to introduce himself as Dandy Chiggins with no qualifications whatsoever. But yeah, dark galaxies are weird, and for the longest time, we didn't even know they were there. Rogue planets. Have you ever been laying on your bed on a Friday night, no texts on your phone, no messages, no calls, just you watching your favorite YouTube video, eating a snack, all by yourself? To some, that sounds like a...
That's exactly how life be for me sometimes. I just be in bed, just chilling, eating snacks. And by the way, no cap, I literally forgot I had these chips, y'all. No cap. That's so crazy.
Absolute nightmare. And to some, that sounds like pure bliss. But the common denominator in both situations is that you are alone, or lonely. And while some of us experience loneliness more than others, nobody on this planet could imagine, let alone experience, the lonely...
Well, I don't understand how rocks could feel lonely, because, you know, they're fucking rocks, but keep going though, man. Okay.
...that a rogue planet experiences. When you think of planets, obviously you think of rock or gas formations floating around a sun, and in most cases, that is exactly what a planet is. But what if I told you there was a nearly countless number of planets that had no sun and no orbit whatsoever? They are simply flying aimlessly through space, no friends, no direction, just inertia and loneliness. Now, I actually want to take a step back and unpack this a bit, because if you listen closely, you'd notice I say nearly countless number of rogue planets, and that is the case. For context, in the Milky Way alone, as I mentioned earlier,
it's probably like a trillion billion or some shit like that, some big dumbass number, like a Googleplex. Not playing. A Googleplex is actually way too fucking big for the universe itself. So yeah, no.
there's anywhere from 200 to 400 billion stars. And let's say on average there's 5 planets orbiting each of those stars. Assuming there is 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, that would mean that there is 2 trillion planets in our Milky Way galaxy that are orbiting stars. That alone is an insane number. However, it is estimated by scientists and astronomers that there is likely more rogue planets in the Milky Way than there is stars and starbound planets in the Milky Way combined. I don't know about you, but to me, that information when I first heard it was insane. And it's probably even more insane if you are just now hearing about rogue planets for the first time. But the lore goes deeper. For starters, we need to discuss how these lone wolf planets even come to be. And there is actually 2 primary methods.
Wouldn't it be crazy, y'all, if like the Earth gets hit by a rogue planet? That'd be fucking disastrous, nigga. That'd be cataclysmic, bro. End times type shit.
The first method of rogue planet creation actually starts with a starbound planet. You see, sometimes when a planet in a solar system is misbehaving, other planets gang up to use their gravitational powers to eject that planet from the solar system. And in case the term gravitational powers wasn't enough of a giveaway, I just made that up. But the truth isn't too far from that fiction. There are very real instances where gravitational interactions happen between planets in solar systems that end up ejecting planets from solar systems entirely, leaving them on a brand new trajectory that has no formal orbit, turning a once starbound planet into a rogue planet.
So the opposite can also happen when like a rogue planet could get caught by a star's gravitational well and just rotate around it. Yeah.
Completely shifting life as that planet had known it. The other way that rogue planets are formed are through the same process that stars used to form. The only difference is, however, that rogue planets that form through this process do not gain the mass required to become a star and do not essentially ignite, turning into, well, what a star becomes. And interestingly, it's believed that most of the rogue planets are formed through this method. And most of the planets that form through this method are large gas giants.
I was just gonna say, yeah, there gotta be large gas giants. They're not gonna be like what's it called, rocky Earth planets, because they got too much mass.
Surprisingly, and they're actually typically warm, not the freezing cold wasteland you would assume a rogue planet to be. Now, interestingly, there is some debate on whether or not planets formed through this method are actually planets or if they're brown dwarf stars. But for the sake,
I would say they're planets, honestly. I'd say they're planets.
of this video,
Because I'm pretty sure, like, I'm thinking like a star or something that can, like, has enough mass to ignite and do nuclear fusion in it. But that doesn't have enough mass to do it. So.
I'm going to consider them planets.
Well, another thing, too, y'all know, like, the universe is so goddamn massive. For nuclear fusion to happen, it requires a very specific amount of mass and timing for that to even happen. I'm pretty sure it's something called the proton-proton chain reaction or something. For that reaction to happen, which is how most stars are made in the universe, you need so much goddamn mass and so much stuff inside the star for those protons to like click in the right direction to even start the process of nuclear fusion. That's how you know. And with them being like trillions or quadrillions of stars, or like an uncountable number of stars in the universe, that basically means, I just showed you how much stuff there is within the universe, if I'm explaining it right, because you need so much mass to start one star, but there's quadrillions of stars in the known universe. That's crazy, bro.
Also because these rogue planets are really the only rogue planets we have information about. Simply because these massive gas giant rogue planets are the easiest to observe and study because they are somewhat just barely visible due to their size and small amount of light, which is in direct contrast to the smaller rock planets that are essentially invisible to image detection used by astronomers. And it's for that reason that studying rogue planets is extremely hard. They have no known trajectory, they don't even have a purpose, there's nothing around them, no light source, and they are simply lone wolves.
Yeah, no purpose is crazy. It's a fucking rock, bro. What purpose is it supposed to have?
On their own mission. So just remember that if you ever feel lonely laying in your bed, there are planets in our very galaxy that are light years from any solar system, and even those solar systems that they are closest to are still impossibly far away, and also not their home. And their home was either a place that they were rejected from or never even had in the first place. But in case you feel rejected or like you need a home, feel free to subscribe to the Trust Me Bro channel, because we are always accepting new bros, and we have the best community on YouTube. Oh, and we also post cool videos every Friday. So if you like
these are great. This is a great video, no cap.
This one, definitely feel free to subscribe, and maybe even like the video if you want a part 2 about crazy things in space. But enough of that, back to the video. The Space Angels. The year is 1984, and you are a Russian cosmonaut aboard the Soviet space station, Salyut 7. Aboard the space station with you are 2 fellow cosmonauts, and the 3 of you were on the space station to conduct low-orbit experiments. But while spending time in space and working at
Y'all, this is so good, bro. Oh my god, nigga.
an astronaut may seem like a dream come true to many, to you and your team, your time in space was anything but pleasant. During your time on the space station, you and your team experienced fuel leaks.
I would hate to go to space, cause for one, that's you're too high up and out of. You're literally out of Earth, like you're out of Earth. Like so much stuff could go wrong, and when you do come back. Oh, not to mention, you're drinking your own fucking pee, by the way. Even though it's clean and filtered, that's your own piss. You're drinking your own fucking piss, buddy. You're a piss drinker now. And if you come back, you could get osteoporosis, bro. So you're just fucked, which is crazy.
Loss of power, and other critical errors that demanded a lot of mental and physical attention. And it was for that reason, near the end of your trip, you were excited to come home. Although, in one of the final days on your stay in the Soviet space station, you and your 2 colleagues experienced something you have never seen before. The day was ending like any other. However, you were noticing something your colleagues were not. It almost seemed like the cabin of the space station was filling up with some sort of orange dust. Not physical dust, but almost a thick orange light. But almost after you began to process what you could be looking at, you notice a bright light filling the cabin. And this light was observed not only by you, but by 2 other cosmonauts as well. But the bright light that filled the cabin seemed almost blinding, and you had to shield your eyes. That is, until moments later, it appeared to subside, and you decide to look out the window of the space station to see what is
Was it the sun or some shit?
going on. And it is at this moment when you and your cosmonaut colleagues look out the window and see something you have never seen before. These massive figures seem to have wings, faces, and they are comparable to the size of multi-story buildings. They are a bright orange light, and they have a calm, smiling demeanor and appear to just be observing the station. At first, you had to imagine that you were simply losing your mind, although when your 2 colleagues confirmed that they had seen the same thing, you were all left in awe, as what you have just seen seemed impossible.
Fuck no, boy. The niggas are seeing angels and shit. That's crazy, yo. Is this clickbait? You clickbait me right now, bro? No way.
And only moments later, what you had just been looking at was gone, and you were only left with the memory of one of the most insane things you could ever see.
Man, them boys was oxygen deprived or something. They was out here hallucinating and shit, nigga.
In space. Not many days after this experience, you are picked up from your ship and brought home, and once home, you begin to retell the story of what you saw, and the legend of the Space Angel of Salyut 7 begins. For the last entry on this video, I definitely wanted to kind of switch it up, and obviously this isn't a scientific discovery. This is definitely more or less of a debated phenomenon that is still not understood to this day. And well, I wanted to leave things.
It's probably more like an unexplained phenomenon, like why the corona of the sun is hotter than the surface type shit, you know, something like that.
Guess on a cliffhanger. Unlike every other entry in this video, this sighting or reporting wasn't discovered by a scientist on ground. It was discovered by a cosmonaut literally in a space station. And for those
which is technically also a scientist, by the way. You don't just become a motherfucking a cosmonaut by being a regular person. He's damn near a scientist, bro.
If you don't know, a cosmonaut is simply a Russian astronaut. Now, back to this insane story. Every single member of the crew that was on the space station confirmed that they saw these massive angels for multiple minutes, and each one of them told the exact same story about what they saw. Now,
I'm not gonna sit here and sit there lying about what they saw, but there's definitely an explanation for what they saw. No cap.
interestingly, when they came back to Earth to tell the story of what they saw at the end of their trip, it was all written off almost immediately. People were claiming that they all shared the same hallucination. And for that reason, this information wasn't necessarily made public until the fall of the Soviet Union years later. Interestingly, these glowing angelic figures were not only seen by the first crew of Salyut 7, and it was reported that another crew years later also witnessed the exact same phenomenon. Although the scientific community was very quick to strongly reject any sort of supernatural beings actually being present during this sighting. One of the theories that scientists presented to try to make sense of this entire situation was that what they were seeing was an extreme case of atmospheric and optical effects combined with human perception under stress. Now, it was known that the missions that
Okay, you have to remember, humans look for the gap in things. The humans fill their gaps of understanding with like God and imagination and shit. So they probably saw optical illusion and were like, "Oh my God, Mars. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, bro.
These crews embarked on the Soviet space station were not pleasant in the slightest. They both encountered numerous issues, and also being in space in general is not an easy task. And it's for that reason that it's not unlikely for there to be some sort of, well, mind tricks at play, but that doesn't explain everything. And another theory suggests that there is probably some sort of rare plasma or aura-like phenomenon reacting with sunlight at the orbital altitude that the space station was at, creating this interesting visual phenomenon, which isn't impossible, but it's also not confirmed. This story, while interesting, has no concrete ending and is kind of still to this day open to interpretation. And in the comments below, I kind of want to start a conversation of what you guys think this could be. I know I didn't give too much information, but if multiple groups of cosmonauts saw the same thing on multiple times, could it be that they were all simply sharing a hallucination? Could it be that they were all under the same mental stress? Could it be the perfect Goldilocks zone for some sort of plasma-induced light? Or was there something more at play here? I personally have no idea, and this could be supernatural or nothing of the sort. And maybe all of these cosmonauts were just lying just for a gag, but realistically, we don't know.
I don't think they were lying for a gag. Their job is too fucking serious for that, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, and the truth is, we likely never will. Which, for that reason, might make this the craziest and potentially scariest entry on the entire list. I really hate to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I thought this entry was too interesting not...
I don't think this was the scariest thing on the list. I think the fucking God particle, the thing that can move damn near at the speed of light, but not be a photon, is actually terrifying as shit. That was crazy as fuck.
to add on this space video. And I guess with that being said, if you guys want more videos about space, please feel free to leave a like or even leave a comment below saying part 2 or just more space videos. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video on screen right now.
Hey, but no cap. This shit was fire, bro. I really like this video, but that was terrifying things scientists have seen in space. With that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you have anything you want me to react to, leave it in the comments down below. And with that being said, make sure you have a wonderful day. And I'm going to catch y'all next one we out.